pin in it. Like, this is a great time to get creative too in this communication, in thinking through the problems, in coming up with solutions. It is good time to creatively think, to ask for feedback, to collaborate with others. Like, this is the perfect place to do that. And that's where I'll pin.
Love it. No, and I totally agree with what you said. Because a lot of times leaders, they're just afraid not to communicate if they don't have all the information. And that's where people have to realize that people don't necessarily want you to have all the information. They just want to know what you know. And let's give a round of applause to none other than Miss Sumana Jetty, who has joined us. Hello, Sumana. Welcome.
Oh, hello. Oh, my goodness. I just chugged a smoothie and I came here. And look at that, 6:25 Alberta time. Pleasure to join, everybody. I'm so sorry I'm late. It is Ramadan, so our clock, our fasting keeps going forward a little bit. So anyways, I'm happy to be here. I'm sorry I missed a little bit. Let's just continue. I'll jump right in. Looks like we're doing VUCA, right? We are.
Yes.
I'm so excited to talk about all of this wonderful this topic. So yes, let's keep going. I am here. I'm here for it. Let's go.
All right, here we go. Oh, wrong one there. Let's go back to this one. Okay. Oh, wait, that wasn't it.
Okay, while Felipe is doing that. Oh, there he is. Are you back?
I got it. Okay, here. All right.
Okay.
So let me turn off the chat here so we can see. All right. So we talked about this one here, and the next one, number 3, is shrink the time horizon. Okay. What I mean by that is focus teams on the next 30 days. Don't worry about your 1, 3, 5-year plan right now. When there's so much uncertainty and so much volatility going on, you want to focus on the immediate future. And that's really important because, realistically, how far can you plan during these kind of seasons? And what happens when everything feels urgent? You got to make sure that you give people the chance to understand, hey, we got to get through this time. Here's the next 30 days of what we plan. Or maybe here's what we're planning for the next week, and we'll provide you updates throughout the week. Now, my advice for leadership is to remember to narrow priorities. Narrowing priorities restores clarity when long-term direction feels unstable. So when there's uncertainty with the economy, with safety of the jobs, focusing on what's going to happen next year really shouldn't be in your conversation. It should really be about, here's our action plan, here's what we can do today, and here's what we need to focus on today. Ashley, thoughts?
This is genius. I wish when I was working in a corporate space, I had leaders who had this advice accessibly, and that we did this, because you're right. I mean, it is really about, in these times when uncertainty is happening, it's about controlling what you can control and then kind of like letting the chips fall where they may. And so having something concrete like this, I think, would do wonders for teams and for leaders. Just focusing on the next 30 days, control what you control, and then we'll reassess as we move forward. Sumana, what do you think?
Oh, I'm very, very happy to hear all of this. I was just looking to on my LinkedIn to see what my poll results were. So I know some of you probably saw this. I posted it a couple of days ago after we landed on this topic. So one of the questions, well, the poll question that I asked, which maybe we can also use this space to chime in if you haven't answered the poll, was who is responsible for turnover in an organization? And I gave a few different kind of options. I said, is it the leadership? Is it workplace systems and policies? Is it team dynamics? Or is it all of the above? Now, I'm just looking at the poll results right now. And as of this moment, a lot of you selected all of the above, meaning who's responsible for turnover. It's the leadership, it's the workplace systems and policies, and some of you also said team dynamics. So feel free to populate that in the comment as well if you haven't voted. And now the reason I wanted to bring up or look at that poll result, all of the above is, to me, is a really great answer, but it also complicates how we would strategize the solutions for this. So when I thought about this topic, or to bring this up, I was kind of wondering, like, well, how do we position volatility? If I were to just look at that one pillar of volatility, and think and put on my corporate well-being sort of like scientist hat, the one thing that I've seen come up, Felipe, Ashley, and everyone else listening, is that we start to see in volatile organizations that there's obviously resource lost. And in science, we talk a lot about job demands and resources as being sort of in balance. If you want them to be in balance, you're in a better place, you're most sustainable. The minute the demands go up and the resources go down, you are likely headed towards that burnout. So in volatile situations, especially how the future of work is right now, very volatile, lots of turnover. We don't know who's responsible for turnover. It's probably every single element that we just described. So in this situation, for the volatility, which I think matches what you have on your screen here, Felipe, is stabilizing some of those resources. So if our demands are depleting really, really fast, which happens in burnout, which happens in volatile situations, how do we stabilize those resources? So what can leaders do? What can teams do? And what can workplaces do? Lots of things, to be honest. And in the strategy here that I would probably recommend would be, I think some of it maybe you've already mentioned, so I apologize if I'm repeating this, but having a bit of role clarity. I think I caught a last little bit of what Ashley was saying, having a bit of clarity in what are we doing, who's doing what becomes very important. I've been in healthcare situations as well during outbreaks when things are so volatile. People need to know, what is the clarity in my job? That's very important. I don't know if you've talked about routines, but having workplace routines, whether it's kind of like a huddle in the morning or anchoring your day. I talked about that in our February blog.
Yeah, that was number one, actually.
That was number one. Perfect. And I think the only other thing would be, I don't know if you mentioned this already, but another thing to do in volatile situations is just getting our teams to talk to each other, right? Are we aligning, or is there competencies that we can bring in from other teams to support that?
Wait. We're rolling on number 3, getting ahead. We're
getting ahead. Okay, so I'll stop right there. Those were my
okay. Thank you very much,
volatility. Thank you.
Good to have you here. I do want to take a break to say welcome to a few people who have joined us here. It's great to see Layla here. You've been joining us recently. Thank you for joining us. We have Jackie Hallberg, who has a show after this. And then we have Zahar. Zahar, yes, you're absolutely right. We mentioned at the beginning of the show that this is not a new term. This is actually a term that came from the American War College after the Cold War. So this is back, 70, like 80s kind of mentality. So yeah, it's something that the business world has adopted in times of uncertainty and volatility and ambiguity. Oh, I said it. There you go. I had a hard time saying that word earlier today, Sumana.
You needed me to just pop in here. That's all.
Apparently. And welcome to Com. Thank you for being here, Com. And we also have Charles Caldwell from Hong Kong. Thank you for being here. And Leslie Flowers. I'm so glad you made it today. Leslie's familiar with VUCA as well. And then we had Abdullah join us. Thank you for joining us, Abdullah. And we had a few other people here. Where'd they go? Let's see here. Oh, that was it. Okay, so if I missed you, I apologize. All right, so we're going to continue on here. Number 4 is protect energy, not just output. Okay, and we've talked about this before on our show. It's not anything new, but you got to recognize when fatigue is setting in for yourself and for your team. You got to look for the signals that tell someone is operating in survival mode. So reducing overload and build recovery, because in these times, you need your team and yourself to be at their best, because this is the outside factors of the uncertainty, the volatility, all the chaos that's happening, you can't necessarily control it, but you can control certain things by reducing the overload and build in the recovery. That recovery is so important to make sure that people can be sustainable during this time period. And the leadership advice pretty much says that is sustainable performance requires protecting cognitive and emotional bandwidth. Again, somebody who is burning out and feeling overloaded is not going to perform for you and be that person that you need to help you and the team to get through this. And that's something that true leadership sees the value of that and will recognize it often before the individual or yourself does. That's why it's important for people to approach leaders and manage up and saying, I think you need a break. When you have the leader's ear and you can tell them, hey, I think you need a break and take some time for recovery because things are starting to get to you easily and I can notice it. That's not being offensive. That means you're looking out for them because you want their best version there. All right, I went a little bit long on this one, but I thought this one was important. Ashley, thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is huge. I mean, one of my notes that I wrote down are that volatility and uncertainty are typically systemic issues, and it just is the default that when in volatile and uncertain environments, perfectionism, self-blame, those become kind of the default coping. And Felipe, you brought this out, like just pinching for control, whatever you can do to control the situation. But now is not the time to internalize the output. Like now really is the time to hunker down, build up your base camp, build recovery, set those systems, those routines in place. That way it doesn't just get away from us and yeah, we're pouring from an empty pot. Samana, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, this all ties into the spiral of resource loss that occurs in the volatile organizations. So everything that we're sharing with you folks, I do want you to think about it from that systemic level, the individual level, the team dynamic level, as well as the workplace level, and all those things that we need to do are going to be different. So build up those resources. And if it is, someone said clarity, I said role clarity. An individual might say, well, how do I develop role clarity? And we could take it to the boss. And then the boss would say, well, I don't know. Maybe the boss themselves are struggling with resource issues. There needs to be systems in place where in these situations, an individual or a team or a leader can rely on, how do I get clarity on my roles? Maybe it is HR, maybe it's someone else. There's got to be a system in place, because when things are how they are right now, and we've talked about all these amazing concepts in January, which I'm so grateful to have Felipe and Ashley say yes to a lot of my ideas over the last little bit here. But whether it's job hugging or resetting your career, or that last one we did, which I'm forgetting, whatever that is, it's got to be very systematic. So I agree with this one. Let's move on to the next one, because I'm excited to talk about the other element as well. And I think we can also bring a couple people up on stage. And thank you folks for your comments and engagement.
Yeah, and we are going to put the link in shortly. Gregory, I saw your comment about time frame. I need a little more context about what time frame you're referring to. So please go ahead and share that in the chat. All right, our last one here is anchor to purpose. Okay, this is a huge one because, ideally your mission stabilizes teams when strategy keeps shifting. Now, in nonprofit worlds, if you work in the nonprofit world, this is to be a little bit easier for you, okay? Anchoring to your mission and purpose in the nonprofit world, people are more likely to get behind a little bit easier. In the corporate world, it can be a little bit more challenging, but if COVID taught us anything, it taught us how to anchor to purpose during a challenging, volatile time. And so a good example was I was in banking. Anchoring to purpose during banking, financial purpose of making money off of people, kind of hard to do. But the anchor for the organization, not the individuals necessarily, but it also helped the individuals, was anchoring to the mission of helping our members find a way to survive when they've lost their jobs during COVID, or they're struggling with their payments, and finding ways to get creative during a time that we've never dealt with in the world. So that's when you give people that anchor to a purpose, it gives them a focus. And these are strategies that, like Simona said, should be in place. Now, we have strategies for natural disasters. We have strategies for disaster recovery. We have strategies for all these things, but a lot of time the strategies are only encompassing the business, the technology. We got to remember the people. So reinforce what hasn't changed, because that gives people something solid, a foundation to say, okay, this part here is safe. This hasn't changed. So we can focus on the other stuff. Because when you give them that anchor, that stability, they feel a little bit psychologically safer. Now, my advice for leadership is reconnecting teams to the mission. It stabilizes morale during that uncertainty. And if you don't remind them of that, as a leader, it's your responsibility. It's a leader who says they should just remember that. That's not a leader, okay? You're not taking your job seriously. But this is the moment where they need to hear it. They need to have that information shared. And a grounded leader is somebody who's going to get you through those uncertain times. Ashley, thoughts?
I have two things to add. I wanted to highlight a comment. It was from a while ago, but I took a picture of it. Mr. Charles Caldwell shared that VUCA has been positively reframed, and some leaders have reinterpreted the letters as a positive strategy, meaning V for vision, U for understanding, C for clarity, and A for adaptability. So with volatility comes, the positive is vision. With uncertainty, positive is understanding. With complexity, positive is clarity. And then with ambiguity, positive is adaptability. And I think that that's a really nice one-to-one way of thinking about like pulling ourselves out of this. And that also ties to the anchoring to the purpose, having the vision, being able to understand, making sure it's clear, and then adapting with leaders. Thank you, Felipe, for highlighting it. I think that that's great. And then the second thing that I just wanted to add is just a bit of a reframe on uncertainty. I was actually given this wisdom on a YouTube video that I posted last week. And the commenter was talking about, we were talking about like not finishing our artwork and the self-judgment that comes with that. But what she told me is that with uncertainty, there is promise. Uncertainty gives us promise and possibility alongside of it. So when we are in uncertain places, unstable places, not sure where to go, on the other side of that, there is promise, there is possibility. We can think our way, we can evolve our way out of this uncertain place. And again, I think that that ties great to purpose. There's always the promise of purpose that we could tie ourselves back to. Simona, I'll pass to you.
Oh, thank you so much. I think my take on this was a little bit different. I'm going to probably just add to what's been kind of discussed. What I was thinking about from the uncertainty piece was I was trying to figure out how do we link or how do we bring in a strategic sort of framework towards making uncertain situations not feel, because that's going to happen in the workplace regardless. How do we be more grounded in the workplace since this is a systemic issue? So what I've noticed supporting leaders in workplaces is when there's a lot of uncertainty, and this may have been touched upon in our previous conversations a few months ago or a few weeks ago, is we start looking at trust. We start looking at trust. And one of the ways to build trust And I may sound like a broken record, so folks, don't come at me. But I think we really need to get feedback clear. And because feedback isn't just about performance, we want to, if you are talking about clarity in those volatile situations and we want more trust in these uncertain situations, I want to start to think about feedback. I want you to start to think about feedback as more as a well-being metric, and just remember that there are certain ways to do feedback. In January, we posted a phenomenal blog on a evidence-based feedback framework, which has become one of our most read and popular piece of content that we have posted in 2026. How do we make feedback more of a well-being tool and not just a performance metric? So there's a couple elements there, which is relationship, reactions, content, and coaching. I'm not going to go through all of it for you, but just know that if you want to start to have that trust in uncertain situations, and you want to build that trust with your staff, with your teams in the workplace, start with creating psychological safety. Start with feedback. Feedback can be so awkward. It is not one way, it is two way. It can be very, very collaborative. And that goes back to, I think, this anchoring to purpose, which I really, really love. And it really does help teams anchor when things are uncertain, is knowing that I can give feedback to my boss, to my workplace in uncertain spaces when there's volatility, and expect that two-way sort of feedback. So that framework is very easy. So please have a look at that. I can put that in the chat box later on here. But that's about all I wanted to say. I'm loving this conversation. And if folks want to join, we have about 14 minutes of airtime. So would love to have some of you pop up on stage. Felipe?
Thank you. Yes, and we do have somebody on stage. And one last point I wanted to remind, and to go back to the feedback point that you made, Sumana, because that is important. We talked about frequency of feedback, context of feedback, of sharing what you know and what you don't know. We also, one thing I didn't share is making sure you ask your team, what feedback do you need during these uncertain times? What kind of feedback do you want? And communication do you want? Because that's the other thing. Sometimes we're giving them information that we think they want, and it's not the right information. So to your point, two-way communication. Make sure that people feel free to come up.
Did I lose? Hello? Did I lose everybody?
I think we might have lost Felipe.
Oh, okay. he'll pop right back in.
Yeah.
Any thoughts from you, Ashley, on this feedback piece? I think that's a really good one. Maybe we can just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, two-way feedback is,
I'm back.
again, like, oh, hi, Felipe.
What was the last
I'll
thing I
let
said?
you finish. Go ahead, Felipe.
What did I say last? I don't know how.
You said feedback needs to be two ways, and
Okay,
asking specifically what the teams need.
Yes, and so just remember that feedback. It's important to create that sense where a leader can say, "Hey, I need suggestions and options here from my team." You want them to feel comfortable to share, and you don't want to wait until the uncertainty happens to have them feel comfortable. You got to start that early. So my last thing to remember is volatility is external, uncertainty is informational, but stability is behavioral. And that's something I want you to remember, that stability is behavioral that needs to be adopted and be part of your normal routine. The last thing I have here is leaders can't control the storm, but they can control how they show up inside it. And again, COVID showed who could show up inside the storm and which leaders maybe shouldn't have been leaders. All right, with that being said, we do have our first guest on stage. And before I hand it over to Gregory here, Gregory, I read your comment and I saw what you had shared. One thing that I wanted to point out was that 30-day, let's go back here. That 30-day comment really is in relation to leaders who are focusing too far into the future and talking about, well, next year we got to do this. You know what? No, focus on the next 30 days. Provide feedback, communication If it's daily, weekly, during those 30 days, that's what you need to do. But don't focus on what's happening next year during this time. Focus on the immediate future, meaning the next 30 days. But with that being said, I hope that clears up that a little bit. Love to hear your insights or questions on this. The mic is yours. Over to you, my friend.
Okay. You won me over 55%. And I'm giving you tie to the runner type of situation. So I'm in a baseball type of mood. Go Nats on your end, go Jays on my end. The reason why that I have issue with the 30-day rule, because if you have people who are in your organization that are disabled, and mainly I'm talking about it with my own neurodiverseness type of a self, is that you could basically really confuse how things operate, how things run to a neurodiverse if you're only thinking about operational and strategy stuff 30 days at a time. That's one of the reasons why we have strategic plans written down. That's why we have business plans written down and strategize for that, because if that's the case, then you're ripping up your strategic plan and your business plan every single time, and you're basically in major rewrite mode, and you're just spinning your wheels in a whole pile of mud per se. And that's why I say that 30-day plan rule is very, very obtuse and a little bit obtuse, volatile-ish in regards to doing things strategically and stuff, because I'm thinking things could basically, I will say, change on a dime and with the volatility. But the thing is, people within an organization needs clarity, because that's where I will say people can have mental health emergencies, mental health breakdowns, burnout, all that jazz type of stuff, if we are only going in 30-day increments and stuff. So that's and you'll have people like will be drinking the change or the stuff that you're trying to do within your organization, like from a water hose on maximum force, and that could basically overbear people within your organization and
Let me be really clear.
Yeah.
The 30 days, I don't think should ever be a practice. That it was never. So it was definitely, I could have probably worded it differently. It was, what is the focus during the next 30 days, not communicate or send information every 30 days. And even when things are going well, that's still a bad practice every 30 days. That's too long. So please know that was never the intention.
Because to me, in my humble opinion, if you're going to do any type of strategy, I like it to be at least minimum 90, 120. I will even take a 6-month strategy type of thing in regards to that nature. So that's my piece on it. So thank you.
No, and when we're talking about strategy, you're right. The 30, 60, 90-day, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year strategies, that is definitely important for any business that wants to be sustainable and think about the future, which they all should be, to be prepared for what comes. All right, so you shared a lot of information there, and I appreciate that. I also want to highlight some of the questions that were in the chat here, and I'm going to hand it over to Samana and Ashley to share there. But some other questions that came in here were, one was from, where'd it go? No, I just lost it. Nicole asked, has turnover slowed in the U.S. With unemployment on the rise? And that's a very interesting question, but I think it talks to the job hugging show that we did. I think that was 3 shows ago. Don't you think, Samana, about that? Yeah, probably turnover has slowed down in some cases because people are job hugging. Would you agree?
Yes, I 100% agree. I don't have the data, in the US, nor do I have it for my country. Great question, but I can vouch for, just through our conversation and the trends that we're seeing. Yeah, people are holding on to their jobs. The job hugging phenomenon is very much real. And people are staying no matter what, which possibly could have slowed down turnover. But I think turnover as a concept, or as a I don't know what the word is still a very much a problem that we're still seeing. So yeah,
Absolutely. And the other thing is also is keep in mind there's different types of turnover. There's voluntary, involuntary, or just two types, which are the two main types. Voluntary meaning that the person resigned and chose to leave. Involuntary is termination, layoffs, job eliminations. So with all the layoffs right now, turnover might be much higher in some cases. With the recent layoffs that happened in January with Amazon and all those companies. But if you look at voluntary turnover, meaning people who are leaving their companies, that has gone down. That's the specific area that we want to look at, because when you look at the involuntary, that does muddy the waters a little bit about this topic here. The other comment was from Marcelo, and that was, oh, wrong one. Sorry. It was, how can we how can we effective to be identify the top communication we need? And the best way to be effective in identifying the top communication you need is sometimes, I talked about this in my communications training on Monday. Somebody said, if I'm sending out a communication to a mass audience, what style should I be using? Because there's all different styles that I'm communicating to. And that's where I always tell people, first, you got to really speak and identify in your own voice with confidence, clarity, with some humbleism. But when you're looking at the different communication styles that people have, usually 4, you want to make sure that you're adding a little bit of those others that might not be your strongs. So for example, if you're not the person that always says, oh, good morning, how's your day? You go right into business. Well, in your communication, you want to say, hey, I hope everyone's having a good day. I have some information I need to share with all of you all. We'll definitely be open for questions afterwards. Adding that little extra layer of communication. But when you're communicating something important, it's going to be in your style. You just want to make sure that you tap into the other forms of communication so that people can receive it well. Now, without understanding about the communication styles, some of you may be like, I don't know what he is talking about. So that will be a show that we can do another time. Marcelo, I'm happy to talk to you one-on-one on that one there. Sumana, or actually, first, thoughts on either Gregory's share or on the questions asked? Ashley? All right, she may have stepped away for a second. Let's go to Sumana. Sumana?
I honestly don't have any other comments. I think this has been such a fantastic discussion, because I am kind of watching the time as well. I think I just want to leave this for now. I know we are looking at doing a part 2 as well, which is on the C and the ambiguity. So definitely looking forward to that conversation. Do we have another guest on stage, or?
We do. We have someone that came in last minute.
Okay.
Zahar came up. Zahar, who was mentioning that this is something that's not new, which he's familiar with, and he also mentioned Banny, which might be something to look at for the future as well. But Zahar, please, you have the last 2 minutes. Over to you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you, Philip. Insightful, Ashley, Samana, and everybody. I mean, the last year I was here in an organization. It was named as Packages Mall. It's like one of the biggest mall here. Like if you see, it's in canals and acres that has been spreaded here in Lahore. I attended one of their event where the lady was like on the stage, and some panelists and everybody, and I was sitting in the audience, and they talked about this new term which has been introduced after the COVID, and especially after India and Pakistan, the last aerial fights and everything. So during those situations, they said people who were like adopting that VUCA, so they stopped that one, because now we're living in this age of AI and rapid climate changes and so many other things. So all the time the external validations are not like much. So they introduced this new term which has been not new, but that was being introduced in 2020, right? But what I remember, they said like now the organizations, they are like moving towards Bani. And now what Bani is, this is what I on the stage to more clarity. I know it's easy to get on the Google and you can just go on the Google, and but if speakers here they know a little about, or maybe in the next coming sessions they can introduce about Bani. And there is another one, somebody in the audience was telling me about, there is another new term which is being introduced in the rapid something. So yeah, in the future we can have some discussions on this where we can learn more about VUCA, Bani, and all other these new yeah.
Well, thank you, Czar. I appreciate you sharing that. It's something that we can definitely look at for other shows. And I want to also mention what Charles mentioned earlier about the acronym and using different words. I think that's a positive approach strategy. Whereas VUCA, the original VUCA, I feel like it's a description of your current state. So I feel like it's now got two meanings: the state you're in and the strategy you're going to take. So I really do appreciate that. And Ashley, I want to go back to you and see if you had any thoughts on either Zohar or Gregory's share or the questions that were asked.
Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, but did you leave? Are you here?
Oh, she's back.
Oh, she's back.
Wait,
Can you guys hear me?
we can't hear you, Ashley.
Oh no. Okay.
No, I can hear you.
Oh, you can?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, the only thing that I'll add, because I know that we're right at time now, I just looked up Bonnie, and I don't know if like it's possible for us to have a show on it, because I do think that it's interesting, especially I'm just looking at this article, an advantage to using Bonnie in an AI driven world. I think that could be an interesting future conversation. It's definitely something I'd love to learn more about. So thank you for sharing that, Zara.
Sumana?
Yeah, no, I'd love the knowledge sharing piece. And I love the distinction between, this is the state we're in. There is a volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous state that we're in. How do we navigate that state? And then also some like really good frameworks that we can use towards living through this state. So anything new, we're always happy to bring to this stage, because I know we have a lot of amazing listeners who join in. So always happy to bring in something new. Nothing more to share. Thank you for everyone who popped in. Sorry that I was late. I think for next week, we're going to continue this conversation, talk about that complexity and the ambiguity piece, talk to you about some strategies there. I think my only parting words would be just a recap of what I shared. For the volatile piece, really just lock in and stabilize your resources, whatever that looks like for you, your teams, your leaders, your workplace. And for the uncertain piece, please develop some trust, work a little bit harder towards rebuilding or building that trust. And I think my strategy that was given was just using feedback as a two-way kind of mechanism. So that's about all I have to share. Thank you so much, Felipe. Ashley, any parting words as we kind of close up here?
For me, again, I think that this has been an excellent show. We'll be tackling next week, obviously, the complexity and the ambiguity. I can say it now. And which really is, I think, just a whole another part of this conversation that we need to tackle. And it's important that we split it up. So I'm so glad that you suggested that, Sumana. The takeaways, again, it's whether you're a leadership in a leadership role or not, all this is applicable to you as an individual and to a team. So I hope that you all found some takeaways. I'd love to hear in the chat what takeaway you found the most valuable for you that you might want to focus on, or that you might share with somebody in your leadership team. So let us know in the chat what was the most takeaway. Thank you all that joined us. Chasen, Marcello, Tom, I saw you, Layla, all of you, Christy, Steven, that are here at the end, and anybody else. Coach Carey came as well. Great to see you as well. We really appreciate all your support. You're the ones that make this show so much more valuable because you come and share your experiences, you ask great questions, and you support the mission of the show, which is to provide workplace wellness insight for everyone to benefit from. So thank you all for that. Let's go around real quick and share final thoughts on where you can be found and what you have coming up. Ashley?
Yeah, just final thoughts. I just love like learning alongside you all and learning from everybody. I'm eternally grateful to be a part of this space, and today was no different. So thank you for a great conversation. And then as far as things coming up, I am on YouTube Shorts, and that is where I think I'm going to stay for a while. I'm really enjoying it. That's at Dear Imperfect Artist on YouTube Shorts. And then every Sunday we have a moment to make. It's a totally free space, and it is just carving out an hour of time in your week to sit and be creative. And then we have a cute little show and tell at the end to show what we've made. So that happens every Sunday from 4 to 5 Central Time. Sumana, I will pass over to you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes to yes to YouTube Shorts. No to TikTok and Instagram. We're on the same path, Ashley. You and I are very much aligned in what we're doing, and
Yes.
we're just gonna follow Felipe now. We're just gonna move to YouTube because that's what we're gonna do. The OG platform. What's coming up for me? First Wednesday of every month, our new blog is getting posted, so that is out. I'm going to write about it on Wednesday, but it's technically right now, it's already out on jettywellness.com/blogs. So you can take a look at it. It's about leading through burnout with influence. And we're just kind of tacking on some strategic frameworks and teaching you how to deal with burnout in a few different levels of burnout. So you can take a look at that. It might be a little complicated the first time you read it, but I guarantee you this has been designed for leaders and managers. So if you are a leader or a manager or an aspiring leader, this is designed more for you and for your teams. The second Wednesday of every month, I do a LinkedIn Live for exactly 30 minutes. The first 15 minutes is just a quick little reskill session followed by some Q&A. And I just want to give one quick shout out to Hannah Neese, who just got promoted to Workplace Wellness Strategist for Jetty Wellness. So that promotion happened. Very excited. She is such a hardworking young woman. I've had her in my team for a little over 2 years, and it was time to promote her. And so along with all the other projects that she's done for us, she's going to take on some strategic strategy support, as well as helping us with facilitation as well. So that's about it from me. Thank you so much. I'll be back in 2 weeks. Maybe a little bit late, but I will be back in 2 weeks. Thank you, Felipe. Thank you, Ashley. It's always such a joy to be with you.
Thank you. And Jemima, thank you for just always giving us topics that are relevant, that are important, but also that keep me learning. Like Ashley said, I'm always learning about new things or the way people are looking at it in today's world. And so I appreciate you so much because you keep my brain sharp. You keep me being that forever learner, and you keep me relevant. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're so welcome. And honestly, I do also want to thank you. I put that in the comment a little while ago, but thank you for always saying yes to my ideas. I have ideas, and then you're always like, yes, let's do
Keep on giving good ideas.
They're so easy to say yes to.
It's very hard to say no to bad good ideas, you know?
Oh my God, I'm forever grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And for me, my final thoughts are, again, I hope you all had a valuable takeaway. Keep on sharing your ideas for our show because we do welcome them. Many of our shows have been based on your suggestions. And give Sumana a break from some of her research every once in a while because I'm sure she would like to have a little break here and there. So we welcome your ideas. If you are looking for any services around HR, feel free to connect with me about Convenient Consulting, where I can provide HR training, coaching, recruitment services, auditing, and compliance. And as always, if you would do me the pleasure of giving me a subscribe and follow to my YouTube channel, where I do house all the shows that I do here with these wonderful ladies on the Workplace Wellness Hour, as well as the show I do for Careers Chaos and Coaching, Future Ready Voices, and Social Saturday Chat. And if you dig deep in the channel, you will find some very funny cooking videos I did during COVID that I do have very long hair, and it's I really probably should take those down. So there's some comedy along with the education if you do go to my channel. Lastly, want to remind people we will be back in 2 weeks for the discussion about VUCA and the future of work, part 2, focusing on complexity and ambiguity. And we invite you all to come, bring your friends, bring your leaders and your colleagues so they can learn about this, especially if you're dealing with this in the workplace. And we always appreciate when you share our show with your network so they can know about it as well. With that being said, stay safe. And as always, remember, be confident, be curious, be grateful, be compassionate, and be tenacious as hell, because you got this. Have a great rest of your night, everyone. See you in 2 weeks. Adios, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
I'm gonna go have dinner now. Bye, guys.
Bye.
United, together, here we stand. Savannah, Ashley, Felipe, your workplace well